Hey guys, how you doing? It's Danny Deals coming at you with another video today about the SoFi stock, SoFi Technologies Inc., ticker symbol SOFI. Of course, you've tuned into Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more hello and welcome, welcome and hello, and all that good stuff. Guys, it is still June 22nd, 2023. It's just after 4 p.m. out here in Los Angeles. We have the markets closed, of course, have another hour left in the post market. SoFi today down 14 cents. Then the stock got hit with a horrible initiation price target down at $5 and has fallen 21 cents or another 2.5% after hours, guys. I simply don't believe in coincidences anymore when it comes to the SoFi stock, guys. If you take a look at the chart, this top of the day, guys, if you look at this day, there was like 130 million shares traded that day. I guarantee you all those buyers were inexperienced retail investors for the most part, and market makers were shorting and dumping the stock up here, and then you see these very steep declines, solid red declines that sort of happen here over and over for no particular reason. And then the periods of green accumulation or covering are much more of a gradual slope, where the reds are these massive sell offs, algo sell offs to create panic. And then retail investors will either be stopped out or they'll panic sell at those moments. Now you can imagine, guys, if market makers were shorting the stock above this $9 level, which obviously they were, you can basically see the dichotomy, guys. It falls. It's after 616 that it just falls below $9, and again it consolidates in this range that I was talking about. 812 to 891 was my range, but it's actually been a bit tighter than that. It's been more like 820s, 830 up to like 865, 870. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much what we thought was going to happen. The stock is going to consolidate and I believe go back up. But if you look at this, guys, if they were shorting, people were shorting at $10, 990, 1010, and then they're able to cover here. Basically in the last couple of days, they're covering 850, 840. You're basically making a huge, huge return in a very, very short amount of time. So that's the game here, guys. And basically, what I want to point out is most of the price targets, guys, right now are falling sort of in that, on the low side. Like Jeffries raised their price target to $8 on their downgrade. Citi, Bank of America, Mizuho. I'm going off the top of my head here, guys. I have these, I could pull these up, but they're all anywhere from 8 to 10. Like Truist, Andrew Jeffrey, who I believe is the best of the bunch, is at 11. So, Credit Suisse is at 7, but that's a dog shit organization. Citi, which is fairly conservative, is at 10. Again, Mizuho, which is bullish, is at 9. Bank of America, which is sort of neutral but mostly bullish, is at 10. Oppenheimer, which I would say is sort of neutral but long-term bullish, is at 8. So, guys, you can see where I'm going here. The gravity of the ratings is like that 9 to 10 level. That's kind of that tipping point where the teeter-totter balances. There's a couple analysts, reputable analysts at 8. There's a couple reputable analysts at 11. But I want you to look at the outliers. Like, it's not just the Chia Pet who works for the shorts, allegedly, in my opinion. Um, Perhaps it's just a coincidence. I have no evidence either way, guys, but you have to look at the timing of his actions. And you have to look at whether you think his rationale makes any sense. He's obviously, not an imbecile. So he can read financials and understand that SoFi is in fact going to make a profit. So either, you have to believe that he's too stupid to understand what he's saying and doing, or he's being disingenuous. The other, I guess it's a difference of opinion, but again, I said it many times, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. Of course, that's a very famous quote. Danny Deals did not make that up, but I just want to draw your attention to two other calls and when they come in, guys, because you have a pump and you have a dump, guys. You have a pump and you have a dump. It always works the same way. And if you look at when these outlier calls, that if you look at statistics, sort of that the mean grouping of the data set is that 9, 10, and then you go out like one standard of deviation or whatever. I'm not a statistician, but you go out to sort of that second tier of the data, and you're more in that 8 to 11, but it's really 9, 10. That's very tight. So very extreme would be like a 6 or a 12 or 13, 5 and 14, just for instance, a fish story. 5 and 14 would be crazy, right? Like everyone's 9, 10, right in that level. So let's just put it this way, guys. You get the 14 buy rating on the way up for the pump, and you get the $5 sell rating on the way down for the dump. And this is the fun part, guys. Okay, so the guy who pumps the stock, this Lance Jesserun, he's with a company called BTIG. He seems like a reputable analyst. He's got all his licenses. He seems pretty reasonable. He's kind of, again, middle of the road. He doesn't have much record on tip ranks. I guess maybe he's just started picking up coverages that they, stop. Maybe he's new to the site. I don't know. But anyway, so he's with BTIG, right? He's the Wall Street analyst with BTIG. He does the pump here 10 days ago. So that's going to be right here, guys. I don't know if that was particularly his rating that caused the stock to go from like just over 8, same level right there, to all the way up to like 875 in one day. And that was that day where that algo couldn't hold the stepped up here, pumped. Okay, so guys, we pump right in here with a $14 buy, right? And then look at where the dump comes, guys. Then this guy, Juliano Blagna, with Compass Point, okay, now he comes in with a $5 sell. Now, of course, it's completely impossible that these analysts could coordinate this stuff and time it with market makers to destroy retail. Completely impossible. I know it's far-fetched. There's no evidence for it. One analyst with BTIG, he makes a call at 14 here, and another analyst with Compass Point, he makes a call at $5 here. Now they're $9 apart. These are both senior analysts, guys, qualified analysts. Like I did the rundown before on the Lance Jesserun. He has, the degrees, he has licensures, he's a licensed financial advisor, he has broker's exams, etc. So he's clearly not an idiot. He went to great schools. How can these guys, looking at the same numbers, the same company, the same exact data, the same momentum, looking at the same management, nothing has changed, guys? How are they so far apart? Why is one 14 and buy on the pump and the other is 5 and sell when they're trying to dump and cover and basically trade the stock sideways? Curious, isn't it? Well, take a look at I know these guys don't know each other. I know none of this is coordinated. All of that would be completely unethical and illegal. But guys, Juliano Blagna, who made the $5 sell call today, hmm, he's been over there for 2 years, 10 months, managing director at Compass Point. What's his last job before that? 8 years and 4 months with BTIG in progressively senior positions, director of financials equity research. Again, I'm not saying anything is ever coordinated on Wall Street, guys, because it would be unethical and illegal. But the guy who pumps the stock on the way up to create the FOMO gets retail to buy in a bunch of shares at 10 o'clock, $10 while the stock is briefly held there. He's with BTIG. And the guy looking at the exact same data, just over a week later, he was with BTIG for 8 years, and but his call is just on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Completely coincidentally, after we've passed that peak of the mountain, shorts are letting go, and then what happens today, guys? Wouldn't you know it? Just so much more coincidence. Right when that call comes out, they reshort, guys. right when that call comes out, because we looked at this number earlier and they had returned more than 10 million shares net. And then what happens? Several million shares are reshorted right at the end of the day, right when news of this call hits. And why, guys? Why? Well, I think the other week, when these options printed last week, there was huge volumes at the right levels, and they were being sold when they turned bright green. They were being dumped on, again, unsuspecting retail idiots. I would venture to guess, because market makers generally make money. That's why they're called the smart money, and we are called retail doofuses. But okay, this week, guys, it's the opposite. It's the exact opposite. Instead of these numbers being plus 70, plus 50, they're minus 50, minus 70. And guys, when the stock is being held at 850, look at where the heavy volume starts on the calls. Is it 750? No, there's nothing. Is it $8? No, there's just a little bit. Where does the heavy volume start, guys? It's $8.50. Where's the stock being held? And again, people are going to tell me, oh, these are mostly hedging. This is baloney, guys. They dump this crap on retail. They collect the premium, and then in certain weeks they create a bunch of buzz and they get new investors to buy these short-term calls, guys. Market makers are not buying all these calls. Look at the volume at 9. 16,000 calls, 25,000 open interest. Even at 950, there's 6,300 calls, guys. All of these are worthless. They've killed options on this stock for years, like a year and a half, guys. It's right back to the same thing. And what happens today? All the volume falls out of the stock, guys. We're back to 29 million shares traded. Hold on one second. So, guys, sorry about that. We had just a brief interruption, had to take that call. But guys, that's the coincidence. That's what happens. The stock's pumped and coincidentally gets sort of an outrageously high buy rating, huge pump, and then when those shorts want to cover at the expense of retail, you get the complete opposite end of the spectrum. $5 sell from a guy who worked for the same company for years in the same job, or the same sector anyway, for he's moved on, but it's the same company he worked for 8 years. And again, I think it's impossible that he would know anybody there. Any of this stuff would ever be coordinated. It seems highly unlikely. But guys, I just don't believe in that many coincidences. I think this SOFI stock has been toyed with and choreographed, and market makers probably made more money off this stock than just about any other relatively small stock in the history of the world. Guys, do you believe in coincidences? Tell me down in the comments. What do you think the SoFi stock is going to do the rest of the week? Certainly, I think market makers are going to kill those options tomorrow at 850. If the market's green, maybe the stock will run up just slightly above 850 and then pull back to that level and close 845 or something like that. That's often what happens on a Friday. Guys, let me know what you think is going to happen with the SoFi stock. Let me know what you think about pump and dumps and analysts who coordinate their calls with that pump and dump, or could it just be a coincidence and they're not illegally coordinating anything at all? Of course, we'll never know because these things are never investigated, the pieces are never put together. And it just makes you wonder, guys, when these, the one guy who's making the call you know, on the sell side worked for the same company that the guy who just made the call on the buy side did 10 days ago, and one of them is at 5 and the other is at 14, and they're looking at the exact same data, and they're both intelligent, they're both educated, they both know the sector, they both see the competition, they both can compare everything. How are these two intelligent, qualified people who have this huge connection to the same company, have to know all the same people? How are they $9 apart when everyone else is 9 or 10? They're 5 and they're 14. But guys, I see conspiracies. What's just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get me, guys. Of course, they're not out to get the retail investor and make us lose money so the market makers can thrive and survive and get fat and happy. Guys, it's the SoFi stock. I'm Danny Deals. I'm too bitter and disaffected to blabber on anymore. Tell me what you think down in the comments, or don't. Better yet, turn off your computer, go outside, and get some fresh air already. Get out of the matrix. Turn this crap off. Have a good night.